Hey everyone, this is David Nilsson, creator and host of Bean to Barstool, and today I'm sharing a quick bonus episode about a few recent beers from New Belgium Brewing that use ethically sourced cacao from Nuanced Chocolate in Fort Collins, Colorado. We talked about New Belgium's use of cacao recently in episode 31. The main guest of that episode was Sam Ratto of Videri Chocolate, a bean-to-bar chocolate maker in Raleigh, North Carolina, who provides cacao to craft breweries around the state, including New Belgium's Asheville location. We spoke with New Belgium's master blender, Lauren Woods Limbach, about brewing with Videri cacao. We look specifically at Exquisite Extraction, a dark sour ale brewed with Dominican Republic cacao nibs and husks from Videri and Ethiopian Orka Chabessa and Gara washed coffee beans from Raleigh Coffee Company Black and White Roasters. Most of New Belgium's cacao, however, comes from Nuanced Chocolate in Fort Collins, not far from the brewery's main location. Back in episode 25, we talked about Fernandito, a sour brown ale brewed with Ghana cacao husks from Nuance and aged in Leopold Brothers Fernet and bourbon barrels, and looked at a solid chocolate pairing for that beer, settling on Madhu saffron milk. I recently had the chance to try 3 new chocolate beers from New Belgium. If your state allows it, you can order New Belgium's beer from their website, which is often the only way to access some of their more experimental batches. The first of these beers was Frambozen. This is actually a beer they brewed for many years in various forms, but they only release it around Christmas time, and it's never available in our market here in Ohio. This year's batch is a 7.5% ABV brown ale brewed with raspberry puree and cocoa husks. Frambozen is from the Flemish for raspberry, and there is a version of Belgian lambic brewed with raspberry known as framboise or frambozen as well, though it has little in common with this beer beyond the raspberry influence. The nose of Frambozen leads with what I read more as cranberry, then softens into red raspberry puree with notes of straw and nutshells in the background, possibly from the cacao husks. There's a strong push of red raspberry candy on the palate that spreads into red fruit punch, with low to medium acidity and a dry finish. This is well done, but it wasn't my favorite of these New Belgium chocolate beers, as I found the raspberry a bit one-dimensional. If you love raspberry, though, definitely check this out if you get the chance. Checkout is a 10% ABV Imperial Stout brewed with cacao and coconut at New Belgium's Denver Pilot Brewery. The beer reminds me of a latte made at the Chicago coffee shop Ipsento. The Ipsento latte is made with coconut milk, honey, cayenne pepper, and espresso, and it is spectacular, with earthy and spicy notes vying with the rich body and robust roast. Checkout reminds me of that Ipsento latte minus the cayenne, like a mocha cappuccino made with coconut milk and topped with toasted coconut. There's dark milk chocolate and sweet, damp, shredded coconut flesh, and while it leans sweet, there's some bitterness on the finish to close it all out cleanly. I could sip this beer all afternoon on a spring day, and I think I'll hold on to my last few cans to do just that. The final New Belgium chocolate beer I tried is actually 2 variants of the same base beer. The foundational beer is a 12% ABV Imperial Stout brewed with chocolate and vanilla and cold-aged for 10 months in bourbon and port barrels. And the variant sees that same beer dosed with cocoa husks, whole coffee beans, and additional vanilla after aging. The base beer has an almost Belgian stout-like aroma, with subtle floral and spice notes from the higher alcohols and vanilla resting on the caramel and coconut notes of the oak, with milk chocolate flowing throughout. The body is gentle and creamy with some retronasal booziness from the high ABV, with flavors of caramel, coconut flesh, and a touch of rose and a green spice, maybe freshly grated cardamom or nutmeg. Overall, it wouldn't be too hard to convince someone this is a standard bourbon barrel stout with no adjuncts, though they're there if you care to tease them out. The variant is of course the bolder of the pair, and the fresh coffee aroma plays a trick and makes the beer smell lighter and brighter than it really is, with fresh roasted beans, pepper skin, and nutty cocoa coming through. On the palate, the vanilla is front and center, much bolder than in the base version. The body is still fairly dry despite the beer tasting richer, with milk chocolate and vanilla leading the way, and caramel and coconut notes that are quieter by contrast than the base version. The coffee is more of an accent on the palate, less expressive than on the nose. All of these beers were exciting to taste, and I look forward to what New Belgium will do in the future with these bean-to-bar relationships. If you get a chance to try any of them, I'd love to hear about it. You can learn more about how New Belgium works with cacao back in episode 31. I hope you enjoyed this quick bonus episode of Bean to Barstool.